Hello, welcome to the Self Learning Podcast by Dr. Sushma Singh. Let us start discussion on Chapter 2 Social Change and Social Order in Rural and Urban Society. And our topic is the social order. The meaning of social events or processes often becomes clear through contrast. Just as the letters on the page that you are reading become legible because they contrast against the background. In the same way, social change as a process acquires meaning against the backdrop of continuity or lack of change. It may sound odd, but change makes sense as a concept only if there are also some things that are not changing, so that they offer the possibility of comparison or contrast. In other words, social change has to be understood together with social order, which is the tendency within the established social systems that resist and regulates change. Another way of looking at the relationship between the social change and the social order is to think about the possible reasons why society needs to prevent, discourage, or at least control change. In order to establish itself as a strong and viable social system, every society must be able to reproduce itself over time and maintain its stability. Stability requires that the things continue more or less as they are, that people continue to follow the same rules, that similar actions produce similar results, and more generally, that individuals and institutions behave in a fairly predictable manner. The above argument was an abstract and general one about the possible reasons why societies may need to resist change. But there are usually more concrete and specific reasons why society do in fact resist change. Remember what you read about social structure and social stratification in chapter 1. Most societies most of time are stratified in unequal ways. That is, the different strata are differently positioned with respect to command over economic resources, social status, and political power. It is not surprising that those who are favorably placed wish for things to continue as they are, while those who are suffering disadvantages are anxious for change. So, the ruling or dominant groups in society generally resist any social changes that may alter their status because they have a vested interest in stability. On the other hand, the subordinated or oppressed groups have a vested interest in change. Normal conditions usually favor the rich and powerful, and they are able to resist change. This is another broad reason why societies are generally stable. However, the notion of social order is not restricted to the idea of resistance to change. It also has a more positive meaning. It refers to the active maintenance and reproduction of particular pattern of social relations and of values and norms. Broadly speaking, social order can be achieved in one or two ways. When people spontaneously wish to abide by a set of rules and norms, or when people are compelled in various ways to obey such norms. Every society employs a combination of these methods to sustain social order. Spontaneous consent to social order derives ultimately from shared values and norms which are internalized by people through the process of socialization. Socialization may be more or less efficient in different contexts, but however efficient it is, it can never completely erase the will of the individual. In other words, socialization cannot turn people into programmed robots. It cannot produce complete and permanent consent for all norms at all times. You may have experienced this in your own lives. Rules or beliefs which seems very natural and right at one point of time does not seem so obviously correct at other times. We question things we believed in the past and change our minds about what we regard as right or wrong. Sometimes we may even return to beliefs we once held and then abandoned, only to rediscover them afresh at some later stage of life or in different circumstances. So, while socialization does take so much of the burden of producing social order, it never enough by itself. Thus, most modern societies must also depend on some form of power or coercion to ensure that institutions and individuals conform to established social norms. Power is usually defined as the ability to make others do what you want regardless of what they themselves want. When a relationship of power is stable and settled, and the parties involved have become accustomed to their relative positions, we have a situation of domination. If a social entity, a person, institution, or group is routinely or habitually in a position of power, it is said to be dominant. In normal times, dominant institutions, groups, or individuals exercise a decisive influence on society. It is not as though they are never challenged, but this happens only in abnormal or extraordinary times. Even though it implies that the people are being forced to do things they do not necessarily want to do. Domination in normal times can be quick, quite smooth, in the sense of appearing to be without friction or tension. Now let us wind up the session and thank you very much for engaging yourself with the Self Learning Podcast.